I think this is it. I think. This is, I haven't done this in a while, this with this software, so hopefully there will not be any glitches. I'm expecting a few, a few glitches actually. But here's the setup. So I've got my computer right here with where I can switch screens. So at some point in the video, I might do something like this and show you stuff. Sometimes we don't need the charts, so I'll do something like this. And sometimes I'll even do this. Hopefully that worked. I don't know. I'm a little worried because I've got a percentage on the software that tells me how much power it's using, and 93% at 100 it crashes. So I'll come back in a lighter version if I need to, but for now we'll just give this a try. To save on power, I'm going to turn off YouTube on this computer. Sorry, you're kind of seeing the behind the scenes and stuff. That's okay. I'm going to close everything I need to close. Hopefully this is going to work. I've got my iPad right here so that I can hopefully follow what's going on in the chat. I see that people are saying hi. So hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining. If can someone see me? Can you confirm? I think yeah, some people can. I will just type in the chat really quick. If you can't see me, refresh. And please, I'll try to remember to keep an eye on the chat. If at some point you lose video or anything like that, let me know, and then I'll reset this really quick. Abri, I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. The super, oh, okay, Ultimate Super Group. I'm sorry. No, I thought you were talking about the super chat. Maybe that's what you're talking about. The super chat is a new YouTube feature. I'm not responsible for it, but basically, if you want to pay me money, you can do that with the super chat. You just type something and then make a donation. But this is not what it's about. This is free, and we'll get started. Hopefully, it will last about an hour without crashing anything. We'll see. But for those of you who don't know what's going on with these videos, most of you probably follow the channel, but some maybe don't. Every Wednesday, I used to have a Q&A where I would take 3 questions and answer them in a video. Today's not Wednesday. Today's Thursday. I decided to kind of make videos when I feel like making them, and I really felt like doing one today. It's not Wednesday. That's okay. And so I'm going to do this live. Usually there are 3 questions, but I decided to open it to anyone. And before we get started with your questions, I'm going to pick some of the leftover questions that I have not answered. By the way, if there's any audio sync, I know there are, most likely. Things should catch up, I hope. You can always refresh. And if it's unbearable, let me know and I'll try to fix that. The first question that I got is concerning scales and chords. It's an ongoing question. I understand because it can be difficult to answer that question, but it's simple. It's really simple. Basically, you need to match elements in music. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that if I have a chord here, first rendition of the show. You ready for this? 3, 2, 1. Bam. hopefully that works. I've got a looper pedal here that I'm going to probably use at some point. But let's say that you've got just one chord. I realize that we're talking about multiple chords, but let's say we have one chord. And that chord is something like this. Several notes in that chord, right? That's what makes a chord a chord. Multiple notes played at the same time. And what we're going to do is look at the notes that we have. So there are a couple ways to do that. You can either name the notes, D, A, D again, and so forth, or think in terms of intervals. Interval is the distance between several notes. So you need a reference note, a starting note. And it really doesn't matter which note it is, as long as you decide, okay, that's my starting note, that's my reference note. In this case, if we have something like this, we can take the lowest note that we have, which is a D. And actually here, let me do this for you guys. I'm going to switch, I'm going to write down the diagram on that chord. Hopefully the diagram is okay, you can see it. So I'm going to consider that this note, actually, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm just going to write down the shape of the chord that I just played. Don't pay attention to those numbers. That's the software that does that by default, but we don't need it. I'm using neck diagrams for those of you who are wondering, by the way. Love that software. Okay, that's the chord that I play. Okay? There are 5 notes in there. We're going to consider that low note the root note, the note from which we're going to measure all the other notes. So this is a root, and because it's a root now, so it's in red, and you see there's 2 red notes. That's because these 2 notes are the same notes. Not the same pitch, but the same notes. They're both Ds. And now I'm going to label these with the intervals. So now you see the intervals. Got a root, a fifth, a root, a minor third, a flat third, and a fifth. So in essence, we really have only 3 notes in there in that chord, right? Root, minor third, or flat third, and fifth. So what does that mean? Let's say that that's our chord progression. I'm going to create a simple loop with that. Okay, if I want to improvise over this, I need to find a scale or a musical element or something that includes these intervals. So something that has a root as the chord here, so that's a D. Something that has a minor third, a perfect fifth. And then as far as the other notes, I get to pick whatever I want. So there are no seconds in there. So I could pick, do I want a major second, a minor second? It doesn't matter. Let's do a major second. What about the third? Well, the third is given to me by the chord. And actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to use a white note for the notes that I'm adding. The third is already there. It's a minor third, so I'm going to respect whatever's in the chord. The fourth is not there, so I could play a perfect fourth if I want to. I could play an augmented fourth. I decide. I'm going to do a perfect fourth. But I could do whatever I want. The fifth is given. The sixth, I could do a minor sixth. I could do a major sixth. It doesn't matter. Both are correct. Let's do a major sixth. There's no seventh. I could do a minor seventh or a major seventh, right? Do a minor seventh. The second, we decided that it was a major second. The fourth, we decided that we were going to use a perfect fourth. The fifth, we're going to do a major sixth and a minor seventh. So that would be a scale that works, right? And that's sixth. I can move it here if I want to. So that would work on that chord, right? Why? Because I'm respecting the elements of the chord. Okay? Does that make sense? So respecting the elements. So all that to answer the question, which scale should you use on which chord? Well, you look at the chords. The chords are going to tell you what scale to use. Okay, that is smooth. Hopefully, I don't know. Or maybe it was ridiculous, probably. So you're looking at the chords. Here we did it with just one chord. But it's the same. If we have multiple chords, what you could do is take all of these chords, put them in the same basket, extract from it all the individual notes, and that'll give you a scale. Unless you're dealing with a modulation, 2 scales in the same song, which is, there's some techniques for that, but the simplest route is to just do that. And because if we're dealing with a song or a chord progression that just has one single key, that means that all the chords of that chord progression are extracted from that scale. All the notes in each of the chords are from a same 7-note scale. And there's a super easy thing you could do. Let me show you this. I'm going to record a different loop here. And if you have a notepad, that's always a good thing. I wish I had one here to remember. But let's say that we have this chord progression. We've got a G, an E minor, a C, and back to G. Okay, 3 chords. Let's consider that these chords, actually, let's add a little more. So I'm going to write them down in the chat. That way everybody knows. We've got a G, an E minor, a C, an A minor. Can go easier than that. A D minor. It might sound like crap. It's okay. G, E minor, C, A minor, D minor, and E minor. It does sound like crap. It's okay. So these chords, if they're extracted from the same scale, what I could do to make it super simple, and I don't have time to analyze every chord, I just take the root of each chord. G, E, C, A, D, E. I'll take the first chord, which is G. Reorganize these letters in alphabetical order. So I'll have a G. The scale, sum of the scale would be G. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, do we have an A? Yes. A. Do we have a B? No B. That's okay. Do we have a C? Yep, we've got a C. Do we have a D? Yes, we have a D. Do we have an E? Yes. Do we have an F? F? No. That's okay. So basically the chord progression gives you 5 notes out of the scale already. So you've got a G, A, C, D, E. 5 notes. Happens to be a pentatonic scale. 5-note scale. So now if I record that, I'm going to try to record a loop really quick. Where are my chords? Sorry, the chat's going too fast. Let's try that again. Okay, and it works. I realized this was not the prettiest song or anything like that, but that's the theory behind it. You just look at the chords and it'll tell you what's going on. Let's see if we can do something about this delay. I don't know. I'm not sure if we can. I could stop the stream completely and broadcast in very low quality. That might fix it. Is the delay bad for everyone? If you could let me know in the chat, and then I'll look at some of the questions. So that was a leftover question I wanted to cover really quick. So how do you memorize scale notes? Is asking Vivek. Good question. Well, it depends what you mean by that. I wouldn't necessarily memorize the names of each notes, as in E, F sharp, and so forth, but rather the intervals, which is what we just did there, because that way you can reuse it in whatever key you're in. And I think that's more important than the actual notes, because now instead of having to learn 12 tonalities, you just have to learn one formula for the mode. And don't do them all at once. Pick a color or a sound that you really like. Not necessarily the major scale. I always felt that you had to start with a major scale when I started playing, but you don't. Start with the color that you really like, and the genre is probably going to direct you with that. But just realize that there's often 7 notes that you can fit in any chord progression. These 7 notes represent the 7 intervals, and memorize those intervals, and then you'll see some similarities between them. I will refer you to the Learning the Modes masterclass, free masterclass here on this channel. It's session, I can't remember, it's one of the yearly sessions, but there's a playlist on my channel that you can check out. Okay. Okay, so it looks like, thanks for answering. The delay might be mostly in that angle where I have everything going on. It's probably this webcam right there, that webcam that I'm using, or this one right here. It's a little slower. Plus when I add that, so maybe I can try to stick to this as much as possible, and feel free to let me know. Okay, let's see what else we have. There's a good question here from Lee Rohn, who's asking me about harmonizing two guitars. Yeah, a harmony basically is, there are multiple things, and you can be creative with that too. You can do whatever you want. But the standard rule of harmony is to pick an interval, a third, a second, a fourth. There's no rules really, whatever sound you're after. And respect the movement of the thing that you're harmonizing. So let's say that we have something like this. Let's say that we've got an A major scale. Those 7 notes. Those 7 notes can be our 7 different intervals, and we can cover the full fretboard with that. I'm going to switch to I was trying to avoid it, but I'm going to have to switch to this to explain really quick. I'm going to use 2 charts, the 2 top ones. So I'm going to empty that first scale diagram that we had. And let's say that we're using an A major scale. And actually this software is cool because there's a magic button generator here, and I can just generate the scale really quick. It's Ionian major, same thing, and we're in A. And let's say that we have something like this. Okay, we've got A Ionian. So those are all the possible notes in A major. And so that can be a little overwhelming sometimes, especially if you're kind of new to it, but those are all the possible notes of A major. Now we need to select a type of harmony that we want. Do we want to harmonize at a third, a second, a fourth, a seventh? It doesn't matter. They all have their different sound. A third would be something like this, and so forth. A fourth would be something like that, a fifth, and so forth. Different sounds, and then you can layer them. Let's do a third, for example. That means that whenever I play a note within my full scale on the top left, right there, whenever I play one of these notes, at the same time, I'm going to play a note a third up. So if I play a root, which is the first note, at the same time, I'm going to have the third being played, which will result in this kind of sound. So that's the theory behind it. But there's a really easy way to do that on guitar, and that's by using a system, a layout that is recurring. So the 3-note per string pattern is very, very useful for that, because anytime at any given point, the note that you're playing is either going to be on the left, middle, or right from your perspective, or however you want to call it. Neck, middle, bridge, or 1, 2, 3. At any given point, a note can be somewhere like that. That makes things super easy, because now take a look at this. We're going to switch back to this diagram, and I need to have someone help me here. But I'm not asking you to help, but I'm just saying it would be cool to have someone who could do the chat at the same time. I should have asked a moderator. That's okay. Next time maybe, if we do it again. So let's go back to this diagram. We're actually going to use 3. So we've got the top one here, right? That's the full A major scale that we're going to use. Now, I'm going to write down here the same exact scale, but I'm not going to write all the notes on all the fretboard. I'm going to organize that, same exact notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but in a 3-note per string pattern. All right? So that's what we have here. So this second pattern here is extracted from the top one. right? So that's what, and as a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. This will make even more sense. I'm going to write down my full fretboard again, A major, with hollow notes, and I'm going to highlight the area of the fretboard that I am using right here. So this is the 3-note per string pattern extracted from the full fretboard. And I'm playing the same thing, just in one condensed area of the fretboard. Underneath here, that's gonna be the harmony part. So same exact deal. We've got an A major scale on the full fretboard. But this time, the pattern that we'll be using is the one that starts on the 3rd note. So instead of having 1 or root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root, we'll have 3 because we start harmonize the 3rd up, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, and so forth, and 3-note per string. So are we still in A major here? Yes, absolutely. We're just starting it from a different note. Okay, so that's the key of harmony here. Let's play something like this on the first part, and that's where the looper is really handy. I'm gonna do a sequence just to send the scale. Very, very simple. Okay, so I'm gonna record that. Okay, so we've got something like that. Yes. That's my 3-year-old who's making an appearance. Are you done with your nap? Are you done with your nap? Do you want to say hi really quick? Okay, walk around the camera. Walk around. You say hi, and then you go play. Okay, say hi to everyone. Say hi. Say hi. Okay. I don't know if you've seen the clip with the BBC guy, right, doing an interview, and then the 2 kids come rushing in. Well, that's what just happened, but that's okay. I'm going to lock the door. Hey, babe, I'm going to finish this, and then we're going to play. You're going to go viral on YouTube. Do you want to go viral? Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe after, okay? Here, come on. Let's go play Legos. Be right back. You can watch a movie. Yep. I thought this would happen. Okay, so we've got our loop here with that first position, which is the second one on your screen. You hear that? That's how popular I am. I don't know if you can hear it through the mic. Okay, normally there's daycare today, but didn't really work out. Anyways, so you've got that recorded here. Our major scale, right? No problem. I don't know how much is coming through. I locked the door. Okay, so now if I take my 3rd diagram right here, because I wrote it in a way that it starts with the 3rd note of that scale, if I play that in tempo, it's going to be automatically harmonized, right? So let's give that a try. So I'm going to just play that second pattern. I'll actually show you that pattern. Right? Make sense? So that was a harmony right away. I'll let her in a second. So that worked. Now you can make more complex things. Let's say that I will continue talking as this goes on. Okay, come on in. Yeah, it's going to be pretty boring because we're talking about harmony and stuff. Hey, babe.
No, no.
Mom to the rescue. It's all good. All under control. Okay, so that was a very simple part, right? Just ascending the scale. But you can do more complex lines. Like, let's say that we have something like this. I will use the same diagram, that second one here, write a theme. Let's say we have something like, okay, something like that. I'll try to record this to a clip. And a theme. Okay, that's my theme. If I look at that theme the way I played it, I extracted that from that first position. So I started on the third string, left note from middle note. The next string is the left note, middle note, left, middle, left, and middle. Okay? So now. That should be the harmony. Let's try it. Right? And then you can just keep layering parts. So far, I'm still with what happened earlier, distracted with my daughter. Make sense? So that's how you harmonize, and it gets fast once you know those patterns. But the 3 upper strings are really good for that because they allow you to approach any musical theme or idea or lick and fit it to those positions, and that's very, very helpful, I think. How is the stream? Is everything still going okay with the stream? I think I have one of these. I think I have a way to make it a little bit faster, maybe. Possibly. We'll see. Let me see. Maybe not. Well, let's not break something that is not broken. Okay, good question. Very good question. Let me go back here. Lots of comments. Looks like she's pretty popular. Trying to find a question that I can answer here. Leo is commenting on the pentatonics for everything, which is not one of my courses. This is, you guys know John Holt? He's an excellent guitar player and a friend on a YouTube friend of mine. He's a session player in LA. He's really good, and he did this free course for anyone who wants. It's called Pentatonics for Everything. I will link it below at some point after the stream, and you can sign up for free and take the course. It's really good stuff. Let's see what else we have. I'm trying some. There are some great questions around here, but I want to make sure that it's something I can answer with the setup that I have. So that's the thing. There's one question I want to get to. I'm sorry, this might be a boring question for those who are not familiar with the channel, but like I said, usually every Wednesday I have the Q&A and I pick 3 questions. I answered the first one. That was the first question here, but one of the questions was about a video I uploaded a few days ago called Spiritual Lydian Guitar Solo, and asking me how much of the solo is mapped out. I think it can be relevant here to answer that whenever you approach something. Sometimes you can't do it, but or if you're in a jam situation or something like that. But if I write a solo, usually what I would do is start, and I'm sorry if I repeat myself, I say it all the time, but it's really, really what works. I start without the guitar, because if I start writing my solo with the guitar, the solo is only going to be as good as my technique and I don't think my ability to play on the instrument, and I don't trust it enough, but I trust my inner ear more than that. What I mean by that is making melodic ideas in your mind, just singing over things. So the cool thing with that is that you're not limited by some of the scales, or the technique or the theory. It's all just your musical persona that will work. So let's say we have something like this. I don't know where, hopefully this will work. I don't know where we're going to go with this, but I'll use my looper here to try to record something kind of interesting, hopefully. I don't know. Okay. I don't know what that was, but that's what it is. That's what we have to work with. If I'm just noodling on the guitar, at some point I might find something, but it's going to be very guitaristic. However, if I put it down, and I no longer think in terms of scales, patterns, and things like that, but I think more in terms of what would a singer do over this? I don't know. So that's the mental process. It's scary to do it live, of course, because you're going to see what's in that mental, and it's not always great, but that's how I do it. Just imagine things. I kind of like that. Those notes. And then I reproduce whatever I have. A hard example here because of those chords. I don't know. They're kind of a little out there. Okay. Something like I'm just kind of fishing around, finding ideas with my mind, and then on this. Okay, so that was an extreme example, and I'm glad we did it because it's really out there. Usually it's going to be easier with chord progressions, but I would try to find something like that and kind of build a theme, something that I can go back to when I feel uninspired by some of the other more lick-based ideas. So that's kind of how I did it with that solo that I uploaded. That was the question in regards to that particular video. But that's how I would map out something. It starts with my mind, with my ear, singing over something, and then kind of filling in the in-between thing. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's relevant to a video about 2 cups, where you have a technical cup. That's all your licks, all your sequences, all the things that you're working on. And then you've got your emotional cup or your musical cup. And I feel that for me, like the best work that I think I do, or the work that I'm most proud of, is when there's a good balance of both. And as you're playing with your technical cup, the mental cup gets a chance to recharge, and then at some point it takes over to give your muscles a break, and it's about balance like that. That's a very good question. Who asked that? So that's enough leftover question. Fish Skull 76. Thank you for asking that question. The first question about the chord progression, I can't remember. I forgot to write his name, but thanks for asking it. Okay, let's go back to the chat here. I'm sorry, I'm not really engaging much. I'm got my iPad for those of you who just joined me. I'm checking on the chat. So far, no crash, but it's peaking up here. 96%, 97. At 100, it crashes. 99. So hopefully things will be okay. Johnny's asking the most enjoyable mode to play. I don't think there is an answer, but it all starts with a chord progression. So it's not what you play, but it's what you're playing over, I think. That's really the key. No pun intended. So it's what you're playing over. Here's another question from Richu. Richu. I was going to say it in French, but maybe not. Hi, Dave. What do you say about the use of diatonic horizontally and pentatonic vertically? So horizontal playing versus vertical playing, maybe. I feel that both are needed, but they're both going to favor different types of playing. The horizontal playing is usually easier to memorize. Therefore, maybe that's not your question at all. I'm sorry if it's not. But because it's easier to memorize, your fingers are going to gain in confidence and take over the music, which is going to result in a lot of automatic type of playing, that kind of thing. That's okay. That has its use. That's the technical cup. The vertical cup needs to force your mind, your inner ear, to take over the fingers, reclaim the music. I think a lot of players let their fingers do the playing automatically, and all their solos kind of sound the same. I'm totally guilty. I'm not saying that I'm above that at all, but I'm just realizing the facts there. And if you put your fingers in a position where they're not that confident, where the scale patterns are a little bit more complex, so usually that's going to be more vertical, because sometimes you'll have 3 notes, sometimes 2, and it doesn't make much sense mechanically for the fingers. Therefore, you've got to rely on something else than the comfort, and that's where your inner musician comes in, and you'll rely more on what you're singing inside and reproducing that outside. Let's try a simple loop here. Okay, so the horizontal playing is going to be a lot more that kind of thing, right? Nothing you can really sing. Whereas the vertical playing, you're anticipating the sound, and that's where the 2 cups, the technical cup recharges the mental cup recharges the technical. You kind of want both. So that's my mental cup. That's demanding mentally, so I'm going to recharge by playing more technically. And you want to mix of both. And so forth. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm going to be completely out of that. I'm sorry if I am. Do you anticipate chords? Asks Luamano. I know I'm missing a lot. I'm really sorry. Do I anticipate chords as I improvise? Or how do I transition smoothly without it looking like you're thinking too hard? I underplay, really. When I have to deal with a situation where I don't know the chords in advance or I don't have a chart, I underplay. I don't play over the changes. I wait for the change to come to respond to it. And that's okay. Learning that it's okay is a big lesson that you can learn. And it's okay not to play for a while because the music, or maybe that's at least, yeah. Okay, I'll just say it. The music is not meant to serve you playing and to make you shine. Music is an organic thing. It's you plus him plus her plus them. It's an organic thing. So if you don't play, that's okay. Does the music still exist without you playing? Oh yeah. So all that to say that I underplay and I react. If I don't know the chord change, I react to what I hear. But I've got to wait until I hear it. And there are cues, like rhythm cues and things like that tell you that, okay, watch out. Something's about to happen. That's where I underplay to come back in when I realize what's happening. So that's really the answer to that. Okay, what else do we have here? Very good questions. Mr. Bulldozer Ben is asking me if I practice sweep picking. I do now. I just got back into this kind of thing. Not good at it, and that's why I'm getting back into it. I started 3 weeks ago getting back into it, and in particular sweeping, because I felt that for the last 3 years or 4, I haven't really practiced technique, and my playing is suffering from it because, kids mostly, which is great. I wouldn't change it for anything. But now I'm really feeling that I should get back to it. And I started working on a Jason Becker piece because I thought, who's the most technical player that I know? One of them. And I like Jason. So I'm working on Perpetual Burn, and there's a lot of sweep things. But I'm not good at it, so I've got to clean it up. But how do you do it? Okay, how do you do it? One thing that I have found, I'm not an expert on this, but one thing that I have found, besides, all the practical tips that like being synchronized and so forth, I found that there is a leading hand, and the leading hand is the left one. So what I've been doing is really working on the left hand without even the right. So knowing those arpeggio shapes and building strength on the tapping fingers, that's a very bad sound. Or not a bad sound, that's a difficult sound to play with. And I don't know how it sounds for you guys, probably not very good compared to what's from the monitor. But yeah, really working on the left hand. I feel that adding the right hand is easier after. It's all with the strength of the left hand, mostly. But anyways, I'm not an expert. Chris is asking about the video sync, and yes, I know there are issues. I'm really sorry with that. What else do we have here? Zytex is asking about what my thoughts on the 3-note per string patterns. I always use caged Stop stop chatting. I can't see. I always use cage system, and I would like to try a 3-note per string, but it's difficult because it's not one finger by case. Yeah, I really like both. When I started playing, and I think maybe a lot of us are in the same boat, I started with 3-note per string patterns because I was more into maybe heavier music, but that was a long time ago. I'm 40. Well, in a couple months, I'm 39. And I started when I was 15, but I started with the 3-note per string patterns, and then I had my pentatonic licks, and it was funny because I'm going to switch my tone really quick. Well, it's not funny, but interesting is the word. Looking for a clean sound here. Sorry. But I had it's almost like I had two types of playing, and I couldn't fit both together. I had the 3-note per string and the pentatonic, and they were not transitioning smoothly. And then, so if I played a blues, well, that's pentatonic. If I play heavier music, that's 3-note per string. And I didn't understand how all that worked. And until the reason is because I had the cage system was all my pentatonic licks, and the 3-note per string was the modes. And I didn't understand how to fit both together until I realized that modes are just pentatonic scales to which you're adding 2 notes, most of them. And so Dorian, for instance, is a minor pentatonic scale to which you're adding a major second and a major sixth. And that made transitioning to blending both together really easy, because now I could still play all my pentatonic based ideas, the caged, and just add 2 notes. And that led to being able to transition the cage system world to the 3-note system. So I would encourage anyone to learn both. But eventually what happens is your brain takes over, or your musical person takes over, and you don't think in terms of pattern too much. You think in terms of melodic lines when you're playing with that blue cup, the melodic cup, the mental cup, and you just reproduce that automatically on the guitar without thinking of shapes. Just like when you're talking. When I'm talking, I don't have to think about how do I put my tongue, my mouth, and how much air to make the sound v, and then I've got to move my throat to do eh, and then my tongue here. I don't think like that. I think about the idea, and everything responds automatically, hopefully, to what I'm thinking. Same with music, except that instead of going like this through your mouth, it's going like this through your fingers. And your fingers should be an extension of what you have inside. At least that's the goal. I'm not saying that it is necessarily, but that's the goal. I think that should be the goal, and eventually you don't think in terms of positions and things like that. But that's a very good question. Okay, what else do we have? Dan's at work. You need to quit to watch these, Dan. Thanks for joining me, Dan. If your boss is around, I'll pretend that this is a business call. That I'm a customer. All right, what else? Thank you very much for all the nice comments. I really means a lot. I know that sometimes this YouTube thing can be impersonal a little bit, where I do my videos and put them out there, and people think that, oh, what's this guy thinking he's all that, making video. No, I really don't. I really appreciate you guys, and you are not just numbers in a book. I don't know you, but I do. Like, I really do read all the comments, and so many names I recognize. I really appreciate your support, really. All right, what else do we have? Samal, seems like you have an interesting question, but I didn't get it. So, some advice on learning Houndtu? I'm not sure what Houndtu is. But you're asking about fusiony chords. There's the way I see chords is kind of like what how Alan Horsworth, that is a bad pronunciation, sees them, and it was very, very sad to read the news. Where you see your scale, 7-note scale or whatever scale, and see it as a whole fretboard, and just extract from that fretboard random notes, and that's going to be a valid chord. So if we go back to this, for example, let's take a look at the top left diagram here. That top left diagram lists all the possible notes of A major, and I could just pick random notes here. You know what? I'm actually going to regenerate this scale. So we're just looking at the top one, but I'm going to make it hollow. Okay, so let's say we're in A major. We're going to have a bass, okay? I'm going to create a quick loop here with just A's on the bass. And actually, I should have done this before. Never use a delay with loops unless you want to be really locked into the delay's tempo. But I'm going to disable that delay really quick. Hopefully, I'm opening a software here to do that. Hopefully that did not break the stream. No, it peaked at 98%. But so we've got our bass here. Here we go. Just A's. Any note that I play from this is going to give it a color, and that's going to be the A major Ionian color. Now, I can highlight some notes, and that's going to be an okay note. I could highlight this note, I could highlight this one, I could highlight this one, and that's a chord that will be extracted from A major. It'll sound something like this. Okay. Now, let's try another one. I could take all these notes that I had and move them to the next note of the scale. Very fusiony already. Right? I could do the same thing with the next one. Look, super handy. We've got 3 of the same shape. That's fusiony, right? I think. I'm in A major. Sorry, I'm not looking at the right camera. How rude. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, but basically that's how I would do it. I would take the full scale. I don't know what chords they were. I could analyze them, but it's not really going to serve me in this particular use. And make up your chords and see what comes out. And I think some new things will really come out. All right, very, very good questions today. Thank you. Luamano is asking if this will be available later. Yes, as a matter of fact, right now YouTube is recording this. As soon as I hit the stop stream button, it's going to process it, and it should be available in an hour to rewatch as many times as you want. So yes, definitely. I've got to put my marketing guy hat. You see that below, right there? Right there? That's in April. 20% off anything. So if you want to show support, you can do it, but you don't have to because I love doing it. But it would be cool if you did. On my website, guitarplayback.com, 20% off with the code LIVE at the end during April. So if you're watching this in May, thanks for watching. Okay. Richu is asking me if I'd consider Sultans of Swing an intermediate or advanced song. Oh, that's really difficult to put a label on any song, I think, because a Nirvana song could be very, very difficult if you wanted to really play how Kurt played. So it depends on your strengths. On if you give Sultans of Swing to a guy who was brought up with more of the blues / a little bit of jazz, cleaner playing, it's going to be an intermediate song maybe. But give that to a hardcore thrash guy, it's going to be very difficult. It all depends on what you listen to, and vice versa, definitely. So I don't know, but if you're interested in the song, go for it, I'd say, and do the best you can. You're gonna progress with that, definitely. So Skip, yes, this is called Neck Diagrams. I can only speak good things about this software that I'm using. You're only seeing a piece of it because I sliced it so you can only see the diagram, but this allows you to write charts, chords, and all my videos on YouTube use this. Anytime you have a chart on it, that's what it is. It's really convenient for teachers, students, anyone. Really, really like that. Neck Diagrams. Available for Mac and PC. I wish they had an app. I don't think they do. But Matt Sully is commenting, transcribing. I heard transcribing solos can greatly improve your playing. Yes. Any tips on getting started with that other than trial and error? Yes, my tip would be, well, first of all, have a tool that will help. I use Transcribe with an exclamation point. That's another software that I like. It allows you to loop things and slow down things. There's also a software that doesn't do as much, but it's cheaper, and it does loops. It allows you to slow down, and I reviewed it on my channel. This one is developed by a friend of mine, a new friend, a virtual friend. I never met him, but he's my friend. And let me give you the link. His name is Franco, and I know him through another software that I use. Let me find the name of this. I can't remember. Sorry, Franco, if you're watching, I'm sorry. What's the name? If you're in, comment. Franco, are you here? Are you watching this? Sorry. I met Franco through video games. He's the guy behind something called Retro X, which is a collection of emulators, allows you to play old school games on your Android device, and I use it with my Shields TV. But where is it? Come on. Sorry. Come on. Music Trends, I think, is the name of that. I'll link it below. But as far as the tip, yes, because I've been transcribing for myself just to work on this, the Perpetual Burn song from Jason Becker. And there's some tabs out there, but I feel that the tip that I can give you is that guitar players are usually kind of lazy, and the easiest route to do something is most likely the way that it was done. So think in terms of closer fingerings. If there's something that it sounds, you're transcribing it and you think it's something like that. You see that movement that I had? It's probably not that. It's probably that. Instead of. So remember, you can play the same note, different areas of the fretboard. The easiest route is usually the one that was used. So that's my tip. Think in terms of comfort zones, and that's probably what it is. Anyways, what else do we have? There's some question that I see here, like Michael Chavez has a good question on the type of chords that are different. Every semitone can be played chromatically. I'm taking notes of those. I think I want to do a full video on that. It'll be much better than just giving you a snippet. Plus, that way I'll have time to think through it and really make something better. So Abraham has a question about from Mexico. Thank you, Monterey. Okay, a question about modulation. I did a video on modulation. I have a few, but here's what I would do. Let's transition here really quick, and we're going to start with a blank canvas. So we'll start fresh. I'm going to delete all those notes. I'm going to go fast because we're pretty much over an hour, I think. But let's say that you have a chord progression with two keys. Let's say that we have something like this, D minor, and I'm going to skip some steps, but let's say we have, I'll record this. That's the first key. Second key. Okay. And we figured out that, okay, that first key is D Dorian. A new scale generator for D Dorian. And we figured out that that second key is F Dorian. So same thing. I'm going to generate an F Dorian here. A lot of players would be tempted to do something where they play in one position, D Dorian, and then modulation, they switch, boop, to the next position. That works. That'll sound something like this. So the first key, a switch, that's okay, but I think there's a more musical way. And the more musical way is to take a look at the two scales that you have and find some common notes. There's several ones, but let's say that we're in D Dorian and we're using this note right here that I colored to map out a zone of the fretboard that we are going to use to improvise, okay? We're in that zone of the fretboard. We're going to limit ourselves to that. That note, which is on the 10th fret, is also found in F Dorian, right here in the 10th fret. And I can map out now, so using the same note as a starting point, same zone of the fretboard. I'm staying in the same zone. So now I have two different scales, but that I wrote in the same zone of the fretboard. To avoid any confusion, I'm going to delete anything that is outside of that zone. Okay, so I'm deleting anything that is outside of those zones. Those are the zones we're going to use to phrase. And you'll see why I'm doing this. Because now I can consider that 10th fret as, I keep forgetting which camera I'm looking at. Switch here. Because now I can consider that 10th fret as a visual reference point from which I'm building my position. And I'll actually switch to this. And I can now look at the second scale, which is built in the same zone, using the same note as a visual reference point. That kind of looks like a Locrian, a D Locrian. It is, because D Locrian equals F Dorian. same notes. I'm still playing an F Dorian because of what's going on in the back, but I'm organizing my thoughts like that. Now, here's what it's going to sound like. Staying in the same zone so I can modulate really smoothly. Right? I can start a musical idea and finish it in the next key very easily. Instead of having that jumping effect if you're switching positions. It still sounds okay, but I feel that it's smoother to do that in the other way. See what I mean? So I hope that shed a little bit of light on that, but finding the one zone of the fretboard and focusing on that zone to smoothly transition instead of jumping around. And you're always going to find at least one note in common between two keys. Use that note as a visual reference point to build your position. And in this case, I was using the caged, which I think works really well for that kind of thing, but I could have gone 3-note per string. The only disadvantage here is that you're starting in one area of the fretboard with a horizontal, ending in another one, and it's kind of hard to make that transition to the different key. But I think that works really, really well. Gabriel's asking what I'm using for DAW. Right now, none. I'm just using a looper pedal. Next week, I've got a video on just tips on using a loop pedal that I filmed that should be coming in next week. So, but as far as a digital audio workstation, I do use Logic Pro 10. That's great, but it's Mac only. But I'm sure there are other options for other PCs. Richu, thank you very much for stopping by. Everyone, really. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and spending an hour here with me. I want to make sure that I know that I missed some questions, and I'm really sorry. Fisher, hi. Hi, how are you? Let's see, what else do I have? I know there's more. I'm really sorry. If you guys missed this event and are watching it later, thank you for watching it. I'm sorry you missed it. I know that I've had some comments on the time, and the thing is, some people live where I live, and that's a bad time because you're probably at work. But there's also a lot of people in Europe, and that's maybe a better time. And so I didn't know what time to do this, so I decided to make it at a convenient time for me, selfishly. But hopefully you were able to catch it, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. Let me know if you liked this kind of thing. Maybe we can make it a more regular type of event. If you do, just give this video a like. Let me know in the comments. Love to know your thoughts on this. Share this around. And you guys are awesome. Ronnie, thank you, brother. Thank you very much. I'll take notes. Video on chords. There's a couple that I uploaded a little while, but Bulldozer Ben is in France. Il est quelle heure en France? Attends, laisse-moi deviner. Il est 11h40, c'est ça? 23h40. Nice, Matt. How do you like the weather? I love it. These last few days have been awesome. I think it's a good day to go to the park, actually. I think my daughter deserves to go to the park after what happened. What happened. In my son, I've got a son too, so I'll bring them to the park. Guys, Thank you. You guys are awesome. And I am so excited because maybe I didn't see them, but the last few streams I've done were attracted a few immature people who were acting out, and I didn't get any of those today. I was a little worried about it. I don't like it. Yeah, it shouldn't affect me, but I just don't like immaturity. And you guys are awesome. Thank you. So, everyone, have an excellent rest of your day, evening, and also, if you want to support what I do, there's 20% off anything on my website, guitarplayback.com. That helps me keep these things and helps me live the dream of teaching you and helping you guys. I really appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your time. Now, it's a little awkward because I practiced going live, but I haven't practiced exiting. So I think I need to reopen YouTube, and we didn't have a crash. That's awesome. Let's see if I can make a cool out transition. We'll see. If you have questions that you want me to answer, you can leave them in a comment. Because this is live right now, you're seeing the chat. When I stop this, it's going to transition into a regular YouTube video that you can rewatch. And once that's done, we'll be able to leave comments. So leave comments if you have questions on anything, and I'll answer them. And we're getting close. Okay, we're getting very close. I'm going on the back end in YouTube. Hopefully it's not going to trigger the crash. Thank you, everyone. I see the stop streaming button, which I'm going to press. Love you guys. Practice well. See you next time.